Welcome, Song of Ice and Fire fans. This is Ye-Cats Miniatures with Brett and Grant. We've just had revealed some Bolton stuff. Well, first off, Brett, how you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good, man. Really good. You know, I was busy doing bits and pieces, but this has really got me pumped now. This whole new. Well, let's talk about it. So they've leaked the artwork from Asmodee Spain of the new Bolton stuff as a standalone faction. Now, I'm really excited about this because not only do I really like Boltons and the fact that a lot of neutral armies play quite heavily into Boltons, it opens up the whole game. So now we can start speculating about what other houses may be coming, because this is now minor houses. You know, we could see House Tyrell separate. We could see, other minor houses, because I've completely forgotten the other minor houses. But it means that we've got, we've now got loads more options.
Umbers, Tullys, Cleganes, which I don't think there's enough Cleganes, but
no. Well, who knows, mate? Who knows? But it's really cool to see them exploring it, because I always was under the assumption it was going to be like the major houses and then the Night's Watch and the Free Folk and stuff bolted onto the back of that. But this is really cool, man. I am so excited. How are you feeling about this new artwork?
Oh man, I'm super excited too, because as you mentioned, there are players in this community, and it's not even a few. There's quite a few that have played neutrals from release. They've played neutrals, and for the most part, and this isn't me saying Dario and the Mummers are terrible, but for the most part, you play neutrals, you were playing Boltons. Specifically competitively, Roose and Ramsey have been competitive really since the game launched. Have they been top tier? Not necessarily, but they've won their fair share of events, and they're super fun. I mean, I play neutrals too. I'm by no means a neutrals loyalist main like our guys Tom Tyler, Chris Tran, John Cash in Indianapolis has always played them. Mark Rupp, that's just to name a few of the well-known ones and the ones that I know. But I tinker around with neutrals, and I love them. So I'm super excited for this as well, because it could just be that opportunity for, it's just like, it feels to me like it's a chance for the Boltons to kind of spread their wings and grow. Because I think in the sense of balancing everything for all that the neutrals brought, the Boltons were the shining point, but maybe they didn't see their full potential to be a top tier army, because they had to keep in mind that whatever they had was available to everyone. So this could be something really interesting, especially if some of this stuff is not a neutral, like it's House Bolton only. That's what I'm excited for.
We've seen release, so we've seen the starter set leaked, we've seen the Bolton's Heroes 1, the Dreadfort Archers, and the Dreadfort Spearmen. Now, there's only 4 boxes there, but when you take into account we already have Cutthroats, Blackguards, Flayed Men, Bastard Girls. So, in actual fact, these are coming in as a new faction, but really fleshed out. But anyway, let's not get into speculating what's coming and what's not coming. So let's talk a little bit about some of the artwork. So on the screen now, you can see the House Bolton. That's all in Polish. I think it's Polish. So I guess the guys in Poland have been busy translating stuff. If it's not in Polish, I do apologise. So we can see really cool. The artwork is really nice, and the colour of the box is really nice. And on the front, we can see Ramsey at the front, and we can see Roose just behind him. 2 NCUs at the back. One's going to be a Fat Walder. I'm not sure who the other one is. Leave the name in the comments below, because a lot of you guys are far more up to date with the lore than I am. And then in the back we can see the Dreadfort, and coming towards us are presumably Blackguards. But really cool box art, Brett. I mean, what do you think of it?
No, I think it's really cool. I can't tell who the other girl in the back is, actually. Could it possibly be Miranda? I don't know if I know she's in the show, but is she a big part of the book? It's like Ramsey's mistress, right? Yeah, she had a role in the show, so yeah. As far as the box art goes, no, it's really nice. I'm digging it. I'm pretty sure those are definitely Blackguard. The unit in the very front there with the helmet looks like a Blackguard. Man, it's so exciting to see this. And of course, on the box, I love seeing we love Michael Shinall. He's always been there, but for me, it's so cool to see Fabio again. Similar to the Martell box, you've got Fabio's name on this Bolton box as well. So,
yeah.
Fabio, really, really super nice guy, and Michael is as well. But this is like, I'm sure Fabio's like, he's got to be smiling ear to ear seeing his name on these starter boxes now. It's got to be so rewarding for him.
Yeah. So what we do is if I chuck on screen now, we haven't got loads from the starter set, so sculpts from the starter set. What we have got is the heroes in the box, and top left we can see an alternative sculpt of Ramsay, which is really cool. So that'll, including the Kickstarter exclusive, is now the third sculpt we have of Ramsay. Theon Greyjoy Reek is in the middle. It looks like it's exactly the same miniature from the heroes box, which is, a bit sad. Would like to see something new, but what more can you do with Reek in this situation? He's just a beaten up slave, isn't he? So top right, again, I presume is Fat Walder. The bottom left is the person we presume to be Miranda, and bottom right is a new sculpt of Ramsay, and Roose, and this sculpt of Roose looks incredible. So what are your thoughts on these sculpts, man?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing to myself because I don't mind the rocks for the hero poses, right? I love this Roose sculpt, but I gotta pick on our guy, our friend from A Song of Ice and Fire stats, Carlo. He's probably pulling his hair out because Roose is on a rock. Like, I feel like on principle, Carlo might only ever use the original Roose sculpt. Like, he just does not he does not like the hero models going on rocks. Like, it's a pet peeve of his. So I'm having a little bit of fun at you, Carlo, if you're listening. But on principle, he'll probably use the red wedding sculpt. I'm sure he's got that. But
but I mean, arguably, is it a rock or is it a big pile of skin? Depends how you paint it, isn't it?
That's a good point. It could be a big pile of skin. And when you think about it like that, it makes Roose even more intimidating, doesn't it?
I might have to do it now. I might have to do a big pile of skin, red up his foot. I mean, I've got, again, I'll say that's a new sculpt for Roose, but we've already got two sculpts. We've got the Heroes box, one sculpt, and the Red Wedding one, which I believe was a Games Night exclusive. But that's the one I tend to use for the NCU. And I've got three sculpts of Roose now, so I don't know which one to use. Maybe you have to paint it up in Lannister colours.
If you're a person like that really wants all of your armies to be uniform and have all of the stuff match, hey, you've got three different sculpts for Roose. Roose, we already know the neutrals version of Roose is a good commander wherever he goes. He just works anywhere he goes. Like, he's one of the best designed commanders in the game, and he's just so scary, man. It's so fitting. I love me some Roose. I love me some Roose.
Nice. So, I mean, Roose is looking really good there. I mean, have you got any thoughts about the Ramsay sculpt?
Something about that OG Ramsay sculpt, like the one with the art where he's got his eyes rolled into the back of his head. It's got a special place for me. Mm-hmm. I don't have a high-res image of this Ramsay sculpt, but it's gonna be hard to top that. I mean, in that original sculpt, they just captured his character so well. He just looks like an absolute madman. This pose is cool. It's a little bit more dynamic, but oh man, I'm really a huge fan of that original Ramsay. I've even got the alternate version where he's kind of holding the dagger and he's got his fingertip on it, and I just prefer the original one. I will say, unless it's something with the resolution of these images, but these new sculpts, they look thick, man. Does Ramsay look thick to you? Looks like he spent the last 3 years since the game was released in the gym, man. He looks like he beefed up.
Yeah, man, he spent 3 years lifting Reek. bench pressing Reek. That's why I've not been able to re-sculpt Theon Greyjoy, is because he's been too busy working out with Ramsay.
Being a part of his training regime.
Yeah, hashtag do you even lift, bro? Exactly.
Ramsay almost looks thicker than Fat Walder.
Yeah. He does. Well, what I quite like though, because I don't know if you've ever seen my paint job of the alternate Ramsay, where I've got the dog on the base, the bastard girl on the base. Like, I think that'd be really cool, and I'm going to try. I'll put it on screen now so you have a look at it. But I might actually try to do this with Ramsay as well. Maybe cut him off the base, move him back, and add the dog on the floor so it looks like he's pointing the dog forward.
That is an idea. That's perfect, the way that he's pointing. Yeah,
that's my idea. You can't steal it.
No, I won't steal it, but you should have a go at it for sure.
All right, okay, you can buy it off me for lots of money.
I,
Right, and then at the bottom, mate, you got the pink dice. Now, you know, oh, not pink, salmon. It's not the salmon dice, not pink.
they're salmon.
What do you think, man? I quite like them. You know, it's quite a. I've always painted my my Bolton stuff pinky purple anyway, so that works for me. Bit of a shame they haven't got the flayed man symbol on the front, but you know, it's quite cool. They've got the skull in the hands, which I think is actually the house symbol. I think it might be.
Yeah, I think it's similar to the banner that's on the Bolton flayed men.
Yeah.
I think that it's really cool. I really, you know, I'm an OG. I bought into the game with Stark and Lannister box, and it just came with plain black dice. And then I think starting with like the Night's Watch box, right? It started to, Night's Watch and Free Folk. It started to come with house dice, but everything just is getting better. Like the Targaryen dice and Baratheon dice were a step above, and then the Martell dice are just beautiful. And then these dice, yeah, they're really super nice, man. It's really fitting. I can see a lot of people just trying to get a hold of these dice out of people's starter sets. You'll see a lot of want to buy new Bolton dice.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. I believe this. I don't know for certain. It's not been said, but it looks like these are the Cutthroats. Like an updated version of Cutthroats, like we see with the Lannister Guard and the Stark Spawn Swords when those starter sets were released. But I mean, if these are Cutthroats, man, these are so much better than the original Sculpts. I mean, you talk about being thick. These guys are hench. I mean, I might be wrong. It might be another unit, but the banner looks the same as the Cutthroat one. They've mixed up the weapons now, so instead of having like double maces and double axes, they've got like some have got double-handed flails. At the bottom middle of the screen, it looks like that's the new Dreadfort captain because he's got all the armor on. So I mean, I really like it, man. They look so brutal. What do you think?
Oh God, yeah, man. If these aren't Cutthroats, I'll eat my hat. You know, like these have to be Cutthroats. It looks the same with the little bits of the belts hanging off and everything. They've got the spiked maces. Everybody except for what you said is probably the Dreadfort captain. He looks like he's got a sword. Everyone else has some variant of a spiked mace, which is what the Cutthroats wield. Their weapon profile is spiked mace. So
yeah.
Oh God, these guys, yeah, they look great, man. It's really dynamic. I'm digging the guy with the double-handed weapon, like a Warhammer great weapon. You know, he's got the double-handed mace there. Yeah, that looks brutal, man. He looks like he's coming to mess you up. And I quite liked the simplicity of the Cutthroat sculpts when I was getting into the game. You know, coming from Warhammer, I had an appreciation for that simplicity. But their faces were hard to paint. And some of the models, like maybe it was just a me thing. You can validate me or not validate me. Did you have to basically like paint hairline on some of them because it just wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to have some liberty with what their hair looked like because there was just no real defined hairline.
Well, that's the faction identity, mate. They have receding hairlines.
Oh, so this is my faction then. This is actually for me.
Apparently so, mate. Yeah.
I was wondering when I was ever going to get my sculpt for this game.
Well, yeah, it's one that's just been replaced. You're welcome. Yeah. Then we've also been given Dreadfort archers, and the artwork of that is really nice, man. It sort of looks a little bit like the Lightbringers because they've got the flaming arrows, but they're really adopting that enclosed helmet look, and that, you know, the Monty Python French building in the castle look. Have you seen the artwork? What do you think about it?
They've got the burning arrows, right? So they're looking really nasty. I'm interested to see the sculpts. I'm interested to see the rules. I want to know what these guys have got going on, what their shtick is. The vicious and the spread fear kind of thing working with Baratheons, but I wonder if like the flaming arrow will be like a universal thing. Maybe these arrows will also be vicious. It fits with the House Bolton theme as well, because I think so far every House Bolton unit has vicious. Now that Bastards, Girls, and Blackguard gained vicious, they've all got vicious. Could be a reasonable assumption that it's just the Bolton thing, vicious across the board.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if it was a universal vicious rule. I mean, it makes sense because, as you say, every Bolton unit was given vicious when the new edition was released. The new edition, the latest update, whatever we're calling it nowadays. If I quickly put on the screen now, so these are the archers. Man, these are amazing sculpts, and if these come out looking like this, I mean, I can't tell if they're renders with this actual, or if they're the actual that miniature, but man, those bows are gorgeous. That they're just they're really. I mean, like we talk about long bows, but these are long bows. I mean, could these be the first 36-inch range bow in the game?
That'd be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? That horrific visage. It would be really cool if Ramsay had some kind of synergy with these guys as in his commander, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I think he's meant to go in his bastards girls, right? But these guys, yeah, it's really cool. You know, a lot of people, the Blackguard sculpts are really hit and miss on whether people like them. I really personally love the Blackguard models, and these guys remind me of like Blackguard bowmen. And those helmets, man, I just love them. It makes me think of Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings. That's just what I picture, is those orcs outside of Helm's Deep and those helmets that they're wearing. It's a very intimidating thing with that helmet visor. So
What's a little bit upsetting there for me is that you made the reference to Uruk-hai when I went straight to Monty Python. So it's yeah, let's go with Uruk-hai then. Yeah, they're definitely more Uruk-hai than Monty Python.
they look like they're wearing a pretty fair bit of armor for archers, don't they? So I wonder if they will be, you know, similar to the Lightringers and have like maybe a 4+ defense, or I mean 5+ is fairly standard for archers. You've got the Lannister crossbows and the Baratheon Lightbringers kind of break the mold for that, but they look to be pretty well armored. Yeah.
We were also given the artwork of the Dreadfort Spearmen, but I haven't seen the sculpts for those guys. The artwork is amazing. I don't know if they've who they're commissioning for this artwork, but it's so. Hopefully you've seen it as well, Brett. But it's literally like a spear wall, and with them small like blackguard-looking shields, like them small kite shields.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty bloody. I mean, it looks like they're kicking the crap out of House Greyjoy there. Look at the bottom of it, looks like it's a reaver. Yeah. What do you think? You seen it?
Yeah, I've seen the artwork. I think all of the artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah, really cool, man. Really good. I can't wait to see the sculpts. I hope they do. If these longbows are anything to go by, then I think the spearmen are going to be, you know, equally incredible.
Yeah, I think their sculpts are just great. They've improved so much, and
yeah,
I think they're in line with, you know, very competitive with everybody else. All the other bigger manufacturers. I genuinely like the CMON models.
Yeah, and then we get given Bolton Heroes 1 as well, so straight into the Heroes box, which is really cool. So on this, I don't know who any of these guys are going to be really. I mean, I don't know if you have any sort of idea, but it looks like we're going to be given.
No, does House Bolton have a Maester? Because I know a lot of the houses have a Maester, but I just see this old guy, and it makes me think Maester. Stark doesn't have a Maester yet, like rules for a Maester anyway.
No, but it should do, man. I was expecting that in Heroes 3, a Maester Lewin. Maester Lewin, isn't it? Bolton's would have one, but I don't know if he's mentioned at all. I mean, I'm a bit upset really, because I was hoping that was going to be Father Christmas in the background.
That's about all I've got, is that this guy's got to be maybe a Maester. I don't see what else this old guy would be. But again, I'm a terrible person. I still have not read the books. Feel free to scold me. I've seen the show twice, but I have not read the books. So your guess would be as good as mine on who these guys are.
From the outside, it looks like they could be is it Ramsay's Bastards boys? In the book, and try to remember their names. I'm sure it was you got the guy that keeps the bastard girls, Ben Bones, Damon Dance for Me, Skinner, Grunt. There's a few more, but it looks like it could be them, because I remember that one of them always had a whip. That may have been Ben Bones. I'm not really sure, but it could well be the Bastards boys. In fact, that would make sense. Other than the old guy at the back, maybe he's their mascot. I'll show you the sculpts on the screen now. The sculpts are really, really nice. Again, keeping up to date with all of the Bolton stuff. You know, they look really, really cool. Lots of detail going on.
I was gonna say, I don't know if this is a forced perspective, but the guy on the far left, his spear looks really big. that's,
Yeah,
that's a really heavy spear, and it could be the angle.
Yeah.
So it could be some of that forced perspective, like the spear could be up close to you, but
yeah,
that looks like a big spear, man.
yeah. Well, the thing is, in the artwork, it's a normal size spear, so maybe he's just got a selection of spears.
And then has the guy on the right got a whip? Because that's really interesting, actually. Wonder what that's about.
I mean, it's all ringing bells from the book, but I haven't read the book in quite some time. I need to go back and reread some of the bits from to reference House Bolton, really. And I mean, what I meant to say was, I know who all these people are and what they do in the books, but I'm waiting until we do the Bolton's Heroes 1 unboxing.
Exactly, and there's no spoilers on this channel, so
exactly
they don't get to know.
Exactly. Isn't that House Arianne in the background?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that's all that we've been given for House Bolton, man. So I'm really excited about it as a faction. I'm excited to see where they sort of place, because we always seem to assume that Lannister is going to be the panic faction, but if anyone's going to lean into the sort of like the terror warfare and the panic mechanic, it should be House Bolton. You know, with every unit that currently exists having vicious, plenty of access to intimidating presence. We'd assume these guys are going heavily into panic, maybe some really cool mechanics of charging into the flanks and rears, all that sort of stuff, because they're quite backhanded traitors, aren't they? So yeah, I'm interested. I'm also interested, the sculpts are brown, so it suggests that they're going to remain open to neutrals, maybe, because they're not a different colour. I expect them to be maybe like this dark purple. Do you have any thoughts on what mechanics we may see? What sort of bits and pieces might come up? What sort of play style they'll have?
It could be, but I hope not. I think, as a person who wants to play Boltons, and as I think a lot of people that are wanting to play strictly House Bolton would agree, it tends to be really difficult to work that design space when that stuff is neutral. So I think it would be really nice if the Boltons have their own stuff. Like, you know, again, circling back to like some of the design space that we've seen, you've got to assume that there's 2 NCUs in the box, in the starter box, and then you get 1 or 2 more in a heroes box.
Yeah.
And so if those 2 girls that we're looking at, if we assume that those are NCUs, and NCUs in particular, it's super hard to balance when they're available for everybody. Because if you've got a 4-point NCU that's good, like Peter Baelish, it becomes like the big thing for everyone. Tycho was that way when we saw season 2021. Walder Frey in 1.6. They were just so good. Varys in 1.6. They were so good, they kind of distorted the meta. And it's fine for them to be that good if they're only available to one house. And so it's just a thing that I would like to see, because I'm not saying that the neutral NCUs are weak per se. They're still very good and have a spot. But when you go across like some of the way the game's shaped up, like almost everybody has this really, really, really sweet NCU stable. Like they fixed the Night's Watch NCUs. Night's Watch used to have weak NCUs, and I would argue now with the Martell's release, the adjustments to Donal Noy and Corn Halfhand, I think just about everyone has a really, really nice set of NCUs. So I would love for that to be something that is exclusive to House Bolton. At the very least, is their NCUs. If you want to make the units available to everyone, please, at least, I'm hoping that the House Bolton NCUs are unique to that House Bolton deck. That would be my wish.
Just as a side one, if it's not that Miranda, would it not be that Jane Paul, Sansa's friend? That might be the other NCU. I mean, I'm not going to get into it because I don't know for definite, but I reckon that's probably Jane Paul, isn't it? Is Sansa's friend? Yeah, obviously you haven't read the books because you're a filthy mainstreamer.
Exactly, I'm a failure. I just play the game.
I didn't say failure. I said mainstreamer. Don't put yourself down like that.
Oh, it's okay. I've failed to it's literal. I have failed to read the books. I've played the game since 2019. That's a little over 3 years I've had to read these books and I haven't read them. So I can get kicked in the teeth every once in a while.
You're a mainstreamer. You're the sort of man that supports Manchester United just because they're winning. Well, to be fair, they're not even winning at the minute, so it's easy merchandise for you. Yeah,
that's exactly what I am.
Yeah. Nice. Don't put your thumbs up; they'll take the skin off it. But I mean, are we feeling positive about Bolton's?
Oh, I'm just excited, man. I can't wait to see some of these rules. I can't wait to see what these NCUs do for them. I want to see it all fleshed out. I want to see that tactics deck. That is going to have to be a bruiser of a deck if you're going to get people to take House Bolton over the neutrals, because that neutral deck works really well with the Bolton units. So we'll have to see a really cool deck, and I'm really interested to see what. I'm going to have to assume that almost all of this is Michael Chenal, because the Boltons are his baby. So I want to see what if he pulled out all the stops for his Bolton boys.
We're also treated to Martell Heroes 2. Now, obviously, we know that if anything's going to shake up a faction, it's a new Heroes box. I mean, look at what Kevin Lannister and Adam Marbrand did for the Lannister faction. Now, they really pushed them to the next level. So this is really cool. The box art is incredible. It's that Eastern sort of look to the Martell. So you've got the temple, a really nice window in the back. You've got this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 males and 1 female, maybe. But from the box art, it looks like we've got Arianne, maybe. Darkstar looks like he's there. He's a huge favourite from the books. Young Edric Dayne, and it looks like, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really play Lannisters because I'm not a disgusting person, but it looks like we've got Arys Oakheart standing in the back in the shadows. I mean, how cool is that? That looks incredible, you know. Have you seen the artwork? What do you think of it?
I mean, that's what I've been hearing. I've seen it, and that's been the speculation on Discord, is that is Arys Oakheart. That would be...
Arys gets a miniature that people are going to use. I mean, rejoice. I mean, we say that, it might not, it might be crap, but...
Oh gosh, well, the Martells. I made a joke earlier on Discord, but it was kind of like a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a little bit serious, but it's like, this box comes out and I'm looking at all these models and it's like, well, I wonder what these guys are going to tell me that I can't do. Like, what are they taking away from me? They've taken my heals, they take tactics cards away, they take bravery away.
Yeah.
They take your soul away.
I reckon every single model in this box is going to have expert duelists. They're going to take away attachments as well.
Probably so. I see some leg on that female sculpt. Is that going to be another sand chick? I don't know how many of the sands there are in the book.
I think there's loads, isn't there? Because I don't know how many's in the book, but there are, quite a lot. Because Oberyn's quite open with his lovemaking.
Well, this is a commander version Elaria.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no clue. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Quaithe, though, with the way that leg's hanging out.
Yeah, I think it's actually Arianne Martell, Oberyn's sister. She's a daughter,
Okay.
Dora Martell. I think that's her. Yeah, I mean, I don't really. It's hard, really, because they've done a really good job fleshing out House Martell, but I don't really know. There's not that loads in the book about them.
Well, who's this really short person in the middle? Is that an actual kid?
As opposed to pretend kid. Yeah, that's an actual kid.
No, like as opposed to another Loras situation.
Yeah, he was never short in the artwork, was he? That was just the sculpts. They're not going to start putting small people in the artwork just so if the production goes wrong, they can blame it on the fact it's a child.
Exactly. Yeah.
No way, man. That's child Loras. That's not nothing to do with production. But yeah, so no, I think that's the kid is actually Edric Dayne, which is I think he's the Lord of Starfall. So he is, for people listening and for yourself, Brett, he is actually he's actually a child. Yeah, it's not.
That's good.
It's not a very small sculpt. It wasn't an error on the artist's part.
Not an error. It's an actual child. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm for it. some of the best characters in the game are children. The Stark kids are great.
And Daenerys, mate. Don't forget Daenerys is only like, I think she's like 6 and she went when the book started.
I always forget her. Missandei's a kid too, right?
Yeah. Or either that or very, very vertically challenged.
Fair enough, man.
And obviously the guy standing behind Edric's going to be Darkstar. So, but anyway, right. So the artwork's really good, man. I really like the artwork, and it fits in with the rest of the Martell artwork. So I'll put the sculpts up on screen. So really high quality sculpts, as we come to expect now. Really. On the far right, I believe, is what we assume to be Arys Oakheart, which is a really nice miniature. Lots of really cool armor. I look really forward to painting that. In the middle is Arianne. Really nice, man. What do you think of sculpts? I think the Martell's just incredible, aren't they? They've not really released a bad sculpt yet for the Martells.
No, they haven't released anything bad, period, for Martells. Like that's what you can say about Martells. Like everything is good, period. End of story. I'm sure everything in this Heroes box is good as well. And it's good for the game. It's good for the game. It shows a lot of growth, and that's not to say that the game was ever bad, but it's the fact that it's just getting better and better. It's like really exciting. So I'm really interested to see what these new things look like.
Yeah. I'm just looking online, mate. That is Arianne Martell. She's firstborn child of her father, Doran Martell. So yeah, that's her. Yeah, really cool, man. It's a really cool sculpt. That was a really good night for Song of Ice and Fire, really, because that came out of a bit of left field, really. Popped up on Discord and Asmodee Spain, and bosh, loads more content. Everyone's talking again. Community's on fire. Not literally on fire. It hurt. Yeah. How you feeling?
It's great. Anything that generates this type of buzz is really good for me. It makes me very happy to get the community engaged, get the community talking. There's definitely some merit to the CMON strategy of like this kind of slow trickle and keeping things fresh. And of course, the change. Anytime you get like a new unit, it's got potential to have like ripple effects on the game. So if the Boltons are really something amazing, and they can test Martells, or they can test Night's Watch, or they can test Free Folk or Lannisters, or some of the big players, some of the big dogs right now. If you get a Predator out there that kind of goes after what they want to do, really shakes everything up, man. You don't need me to explain it. You already know. If one of the powerhouses have to adjust their list, it gives everybody else room to adjust to what the new adjustment is, and this is how the game ebbs and flows. And so it's really cool. As long as nothing's like ridiculously, insanely crazy, it's good. It tends to be really good. So I'm really excited for it. I'm about it, man. I'm about it.
Well, yeah, I'm really looking forward to House Bolton, seeing the House Martell Heroes 2 box come out. So I think we can leave it there, Brett. Leave people with some stuff. Obviously, we've got the faction overviews coming out starting next week, which will be cool. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, give us your thoughts on these boxes below. Are you running House Martell? Are you going to be running more House Bolton when they're released? Are you going to start changing your bits and pieces to accommodate these miniatures? Yeah, let us know. You got any last thoughts, Brett?
No, a little bit more of the same. Let us know what you're looking forward to the most. Let us know how you want to see them handle this Bolton neutral transition. I think a lot of people would like to see Boltons kind of removed from neutrals, but I'm not 100% sure that that's going to be the case. But how do you want to see this happen? And do you think it's Miranda or Jane? Let us know in the comments. See how far off base I am just throwing a show character out there that maybe is mentioned one time in the book. But I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Okay, man. Right. Cheers, Brett. Take care. We'll speak to you soon.
All right. See you, buddy.